Enter the world, but tread with care. Those roots remember every prayer. Carved from ash, from bone, from flame. The sacred beasts don't play or game. Here change comes, swift on silver wing, with dragonflies that bite and sting. Truth flickers soft and sharp as steel, and every wound must learn to heal. Don't come armed with hollow lore. This world won't let you fake the war. For those who think they understand, you'll bleed the fastest by your hand. So read and ache, be torn apart. These stories rise from broken hearts. With grit and teeth they scream and soar. You've never known a world like this before.
Welcome to The Black Butterfly, Book 1 of the Sacred Blood series by Sarah Yuher. 9. An offering chosen and an offering forced. The garden was silent. The only sounds were Erlia's whimpers. Frostfang had difficulty finding the will to stop drinking down the wildfire that was her blood, but he finally released her and licked the bite to speed up the healing. He frowned at her fear and kissed gently on the bite to soothe that fear. Outwardly, Frostfang was cold and calm as he regarded Remus. Inside was another story. If his heart could beat, it would be racing as fast as hers with excitement. Mine, no one else's. Mine, it felt like an eternity for him to finally claw enough mental control to speak. I'll let you keep your life, Lord Remus. Nothing else. Now leave, and if you ever return to my hold, I won't let you keep that. Erlia shook against him as he watched the other vampire pick himself up from the ground. Guards came to escort the wounded vampire from the garden, and Remus allowed himself a last hateful look towards Frostfang as he was led away. For the first time, Frostfang noticed the wounded guard on the platform. General Maverick was tending to the young man's arm, which was bent at an odd angle. With a sick crack, the older damper realigned the younger's arm before the bones could begin healing in the wrong places. The young man managed only to wince and never make a sound. I wouldn't expect anything less from the ghost. He attempted to stop Remus. Seraphina informed him. She had moved her head forward and was sniffing at Erlia's. The girl seemed to be frozen in terror, wanting to move away from the dragon, but not wanting to move closer to the vampire that held her either. The guard's injuries, he asked of General Maverick. Lord Remus broke his arm and managed a solid strike to the side of his head, my lord. I believe he has a concussion, but he'll live. Maverick responded as he bowed deeply to Frostfang as another damper used cloth and a long-bladed dagger to stabilize the ghost's arm. I say you offer to turn him. Even if Maverick accepts your offer, he was brave in facing a vampire alone, Seraphina suggested. She had moved so that she was curled around Frostfang and Erlia's in a possessive manner. The guests had backed away, guards escorting the other offerings away from the trio. Frostfang watched the damper. Amber eyes and black hair with crimson highlights. He absently rubbed his hand along Seraphina's smooth scales. For a ghost, he seems to have messed up badly. The young make mistakes. His actions did delay Remus, and he survived the error. Survive your mistakes and learn from them, he could almost hear his grandfather's voice. A whimper from Erlia's reminded Frostfang that he still had her gripped to his side, and from the feeling of her, he was the only thing holding her up. He didn't want to let her go, the feel of her like a hearth fire. My hearth's flame. When a maid came over to take her from him, he growled and tightened his grip on her possessively. Seraphina mirrored his growl with her own. The maid curtsied and backed off, the scent of fear coming off her in waves. Erlia's whimpers turned into quiet sobbing. He frowned at the sound of her sobs. Usually, the sounds of humans crying excited him, fueling his bloodlust and desire for destruction. But her sobs ignited a completely different feeling in him, which bothered and angered him. Why was this human affecting him so? What was it about her that drew him to her? Frostfang scooped her up into his arms before he walked down the platform. The crowded guests parted before him to let him pass, parting further as Seraphina followed him. He headed for the staircase that led to his private garden. He needed to get away from everyone. Well, you picked an offering. A beautiful one at that, too. Seraphina teased him. He ignored her attempt at playful goading. Frostfang just wanted to get himself and Aerlia's away from everyone. But to do what? His desire to take more than just her blood rose above his anger at Remus, only to be shoved down by the sharp, poignant scent of her fear cutting through the perfume of fire lilies. He had never been a fan of fear mixed with sex, and Aerlia's was terrified right now. Before he could even get up a couple of steps, Rose stopped him. "My Night Father, what would you like to do about the other offerings?" she asked as she curtsied to him in her elegant dress. He turned to the other offerings and regarded them. The thought of feeding from anyone other than Aerlia's repulsed him. "Mindin, have you chosen one you like?" he asked of the vampire. Mindin walked over to one of the two Dampiers that had been on the tier below Aerlia's. She was the one Lord Ferris had brought Arista. The vampire was far gentler in claiming her than Frostfang had been with Aerlia's. "This is the one I choose, Night Father. Thank you for your generosity." The girl moved to cuddle closer to Mindin. It seems she is pleased with him choosing her. Seraphina observed. "How long before she's swollen with mind and seed?" Frostfang responded. He nodded to Mindin, then answered Rose. "Auction the rest off." Briar came forward this time to stop Frostfang from leaving. "What now? I've been to enough of these damn offering balls to know the Vampire of Honor gets to go with their chosen offerings as soon as they're done choosing. Why won't anyone let me leave?" It was an effort not to groan with annoyance. With deep red hair, almost like blood, and emerald red-ringed eyes, the rest of Briar looked like a mirror image of his Night sister Rose, except more masculine where she was feminine. "Night Father, it may be wise to accept Lady Elisa's offering along with the offering Aerlia's. You killed Lord Draken and have now humiliated Lord Remus. If you at least accept her offering, you may be able to soothe some of Prince Zion's anger." Frostfang growled at his fledgling. "If I may offer, Lord Frostfang, if you allow me one of the guards from tonight, I will inform my Night Father, Prince Zion, of my Night Brother's actions here and soothe any rift between my Night Father and your Night Mother." Frostfang looked to the woman who had spoken as she continued. "That way, you will not have to accept my offering if you don't want to. Though I will gladly accept the guard of my choice even if you accept my offering." Where Remus was weak and incompetent, Lady Elisa was strong and clever. Her auburn hair was artfully piled on her head, and her dress was silvery gray and expertly made. "See why I hate politics?" Briar offered a solution, and she pounced to try and get a well-trained damper for free. "I'll soothe my Night Father's anger if you give me a gift, but you can still accept our gift. Bah. I would rather cut her head off with Remus' head." Frostfang grumped to Seraphina. "Do we really care about Zion's anger?" Seraphina asked him. "No, but Ithra may order me to take the deal or accept her offering. Or better yet, both." He answered the dragon's question. Out loud, he asked, "And which guard were you thinking of, Lady Elisa?" "The handsome one my Night Brother attacked. Bravery and loyalty like that should be rewarded." Elisa responded smoothly. Frostfang looked over at the young man. Kieran held his arm out awkwardly, and a bruise blossomed on his face. He also looked ready to pass out from pain as two of his battle brothers held him upright between them. Remus had done a number on him. "She doesn't just want a well-trained damper. She wants my ghost. She can't have him." Seraphina's response to her request rang strongly through his mind. "I'm sorry, but I must decline to allow you my ghost," Frostfang informed her. "I should ask Rose what was the last thing she sent him to do. Then my Night Son will accept your offering, Lady Elisa. And please, inform your Night Father of our deepest regrets about how events unfolded between my Night Son and his." Princess Ithra spoke smoothly as she walked forward, ever the regal princess. "I told you. None of the other offerings are as pretty as Aerlia's." If dragons could pout, Seraphina would have been. Frostfang found it rather hard to keep his face blank at the thought of her pouting. The response to the image was not friendly and only made it harder to keep his face straight. Lady Elisa indicated to one of the guards to bring forth one of the other of the two damper offerings. The girl was pretty in her own way, Frostfang supposed. Her hair was the color of wheat, braided down her back with ribbons the same honey brown as her eyes. Rose had dressed her in deep red, almost the color of blood. She curtsied to Frostfang and smiled in what he assumed was an attempt at seduction. Her name is Aphrodite. She is a direct damper child of my night father, Prince Zion, and one of his harem girls. Lady Elisa explained. Prince Zion chose her as offering for you after a visit with Lord Brynther's mage, Saya. A harem daughter, not the daughter of his handmaiden, he mused to himself. I have heard of Brynther's pet mage, Saya. What did she say about Aphrodite? That I would bear the children of a king of two worlds. Aphrodite spoke smoothly in a sugar-sweet voice as she curtsied deeply to Lord Frostfang. That voice grated at him, and he wondered what Aerlia's voice sounded like when she spoke. What does that have to do with anything? Seraphina let him feel her confusion. Zion is letting me know he thinks me beneath him by sending me a harem child. The mage Saya, speaking of her future and bearing the children of a king, would put me in a very awkward position if I put a baby in her belly. There is only one king, and that is King Absalom. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I was damned the night I met Ithra. He thought back to the reports of Rose's examination of the offerings. Frostfang remembered Aphrodite's. She was an exceptional offering. Her blood held a hum of magic in it. Strong and healthy, she was also able to read and write. The only mark Rose had noted was that she was not a virgin. It wasn't that Frostfang had anything against non-virgin offerings. He had been married as a human, and many vampires trained potential offerings in sex. The training was widespread if the offering was to be made to one of the more sexually orientated lines. Frostfang and his knight brother, Lord Ferris, were the odd ones in Princess Ithra's line. Both had built armies while many of their knight siblings built brothels. Last year, one of Princess Rhys's knight children, Lady Annabelle, had given him a lovely human girl as a gift for intervening when Remus had tried to take over her small hold with its silk farms. The girl had been pregnant, and he had taken the girl's head and womb back to her himself. Frostfang found it rather rude when someone sent him an offering that already bore the seed of another. Instead of bringing an offering to the ball, Lady Annabelle had brought sheaves of dyed silk with her and her best tailors. The lady in question stood closest to Lord Frostfang after his briar rose. Lady Annabelle was eyeing Aerlia's with her red-ringed eyes the color of fertile soil as she drank from a crystal goblet. It wasn't the look of a hunter observing prey, it was the look of a master tailor designing the perfect dress. Frostfang looked away from her and back to Lady Elisa. Aphrodite is an exceptional offering, Lady Elisa. I thank Prince Zion for his generosity, he said smoothly. He knew he had to bite the girl publicly, or Ithra would find a way to punish him, but Frostfang wasn't sure what to do with Aerlia's as he stepped down the steps. He didn't want to let go of her, which made him want to throw her as far from himself as possible. Briar stepped forward and offered to take her. I trust Briar. Seraphina responded to his hesitancy. As Briar took her from Frostfang, he suddenly felt something was missing, which irritated him. He faced Aphrodite as she stepped forward. With a curtsy, she bared her neck to him. With one arm around her waist, he pulled her up against him. His other hand cupped the back of her head. Where Aerlia's had been warm and fit perfectly into him, Aphrodite felt cold and like she didn't belong. She bared her neck to him eagerly, the anticipation of the coming bite arousing her. He growled at that scent, and the musk grew stronger as she misinterpreted his growl as appreciation. He bit down into the soft flesh of her neck and drank deeply. Compared to the power in Aerlia's blood, Aphrodite's was a flickering candle next to a roaring wildfire. He licked at the bite to stop the bleeding and stepped away from her. He didn't bother to look back at Aphrodite as he took Aerlia's from Briar and then began to head back up the steps. This time, no one stopped him. Seraphina climbed up the balcony, and Aphrodite followed him on the stairs. He had faith in Rose and Briar to take care of things down in the garden. They were his right and left hands for a reason.
O Father, have we failed you? O Mother, have you turned your back on us? What price must we pay for you to send your child unto us? For the chained and the scarred, for the broken and the damned, let us never forget the redemption price. O Father, may you break our chains. O Mother, may you heal our scars. What price must we pay for you to send your child unto us? For the chained and the scarred, for the broken and the damned, let us never forget the redemption price. O Father, can we be redeemed? O Mother, what is life and death? What price must we pay for you to send your child unto us? For the chained and the scarred, for the broken and the damned, let us never forget the redemption price.